opportunity. We have entire sections in the bookshop called self-help. We have no sections called help others. And yet the science is clear. Our own sense of happiness, our own sense of fulfillment, our health, and indeed the success of the organization itself are tied entirely
human
to our willingness
organization
to serve
itself.
those in our tribe, to look after those who we would call brother and sister, which we don't do in companies. We have colleagues. In the military, they have brothers and they have sisters. We don't always like our brothers and sisters, but my goodness, you threaten my brother or my sister, and you've got to deal with me.
Sadly.
Thanks very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We have time for questions. Yes, in that. Can you speak up?
Could you throw some light on why organizations like the armed forces, which have very low tolerance for challenging authority, have such great leaders, as opposed to corporations where there is a potential to challenge authority yet ultimately isn't as high?
So the question was, why is it that the military has great leaders where they have low tolerance for challenging authority, where in corporations where we have culture of challenging authority, we seem to lack good leaders, or there seems to be a dwindling number. When you talk about challenging authority, what are you talking about? You know, when we're talking about challenging conventional thoughts and conventional ideas, when we're talking about taking responsibility, in the military, and especially in the Marines, they're expected and they're taught to think for themselves. And the idea of hierarchy is very much geared to something they call commander's intent, right? In other words, the commander tells us what they need to achieve, but they will not meddle in how it will be achieved. The problem in our corporations is we're told what they want to achieve and how we're going to do it. And so the opportunity to challenge authority is obvious. It's because you're giving us something to challenge. Whereas in a well-running unit, the commander will say, I need to take that hill. And it's for the lower level leadership to figure out how to take that hill. And then it's for the level of leadership beneath that to figure out, okay, this is how we're going to do our component of it. And so there's a lot of respect given to the layers of leadership. Here, not so much. Well, here I mean corporations, not so much. And so it also goes to the concept of humility. The best definition of humility I ever heard was given by Bob Gaylor, the former Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. He said, do not confuse humility with meekness. Humility is being open to the ideas of others. And I love that. You know, you can have the biggest ego in the room. Being humble is not like, oh, no, it's not me. You know, that's not humble. Humble is when somebody says, I got an idea, you go, let's hear it. And actually be willing to hear what they have to say. That's humility. And so great leaders have the humility that they may not have all the answers and they don't know how to get there. And it also goes to a question of priorities, right? Which is based on bonus structures. We are largely incentivized to grow a number within the year. That's how we get our incentives. And we're not incentivized to create something stable that will last 100 years. And so what you have is a lot of large, relatively unstable organizations.
Nobody else is watching.
Well, that's what they wanted. That's what they got. We're fast growing.
The eternity is all that could possibly be watching.
Awesome. Good for the year, right? This is. We were just talking about this at lunch. This is the difference between this is the folly of the stock market, right?
This is for the fucking computer overlords when they fucking are like, who the fuck was this kid that knew everything?
Dude, in the middle. Okay. This, if you look at like General Electric in the 80s and 90s, this is what their stock chart looks like. So if you were lucky enough to sell at the right time, you would have made, you know, I don't know, 1,800% of your money, you know, if you invested in the early 80s. This is not investing. This is gambling. This is investing.
Wonder what you
We
do.
invest in our children. We invest in education. Right? We invest in something that we don't see the result in a year. Gambling is about hope. I hope this works out. And it's about betting. I bet on your new product. I bet on your new CEO. I bet on your reorg. I bet on your acquisition. I invest in you because I hope that that decision that you just made today, I bet it's going to work. Costco was criticized by Wall Street year after year after year by stupidly prioritizing employees and customers and ignoring the shareholder. If you had invested $1 in General Electric and $1 in Costco the day Costco went public, which was December of 1985, you would have, compared to today, you would have enjoyed a 600% return on your investment in General Electric. You would have enjoyed a 600% return on your investment in the S&P 500. And you would have enjoyed a 1,200% return on your investment in Costco.
Jesus.
That's investing. If you were lucky enough to get out of GE at the right time, you would have made a little more. But that's not investing, that's gambling. I got no issue with it. I got no issue with gambling, and I got no issue with taking bets. Just call it like it is. We're betting versus we're investing. So if we're saying we're doing something for our shareholders, we don't have shareholders anymore, we have share squatters, right? Think about it. Just let's think about this for 1 second. We're going to take counsel from a disinterested outside party that when we do well, they'll invest in us anyway, and if we do badly, they're not loyal and they're not going to stick with us.
Boom.
I'll stop there. And the joke is, that's better for the shareholder. And it's stable. And it's innovative. And people love working there. And they look after each other. And they don't spend tons of money on churn because nobody quits. It's good. Forget about idealism. Forget about soapboxes. I'm talking business. I'm talking the free market. This is better for the free market. But I digress. Yes. No, I know.
So a couple weeks ago we had incredible physicist Michio Kaku come here as well.
Cool.
Yeah, it was awesome. We talked a lot about the intersection of brain-machine interfaces, and I was wondering, based on your 99U talk, where you focus a lot more kind of on the neurobiological reasons why these things happen, where do you see kind of the future of that going? Will we evolve as companies to be better and figure out if we can actually see, scientifically what's happening?
That is the fucking scariest question I've ever
Such
heard.
hubris.
Such hubris.
Yeah, we're not that
Yeah.
smart. We I love, companies do competitive analyses, and yet it's the competition they didn't see that always gets them. It's the unsuspecting technology they didn't even know existed that comes up. MySpace was busy studying Friendster when Facebook showed up out of nowhere, right? And
It's the
so
real game.
we don't know. That's the point. We're so proud to believe that we've considered everything. The space shuttle blew up because of a bolt. Okay? Things go wrong all the time because of one idiot decision about somebody who didn't see something. The housing crisis, mortgage-backed securities, the actuaries said that these have a 99% chance of success, because the 1% chance that the whole housing market would collapse at one time. So there was no plan for that 1% chance because that's the point. It's hubris. The human animal, this machine